Cool. So, Halibut, man, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to get to chat with you tonight, man. Are you doing all right this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing okay. I've been better, but it's nice to hop on here and talk to everyone. So yeah,
Man, trading is all about the ups and downs, you know? Like, I think getting your perspective on things right now when maybe things are a little bit harder is going to be great. So, um, a first question that I had for you, we kind of always start these out in a similar way. We kind of are always curious, how did you first get into crypto? And maybe more importantly, what was like the moment when, or was there a particular moment that you can point to when you decided like it's time to take trading really seriously?
yeah. Um, so I guess to introduce myself first, hi guys, my name's Ali. I'm from the Philippines. I'm 23. Uh, so I've been in the cycles. I mean, I've been trading since last cycle or towards the end. So Apti was really big here. So I bought an NFT at the very late stages, mostly when everything was going down. And I think I put my savings into it. So it was like um, maybe around less than 2K USD, the third world country out here. But it went to zero. And then, so, I lost my money. And then I decided to work like moderator job in like the NFT space, like where you get collabs and you moderate the chats and stuff. And then I think I earned enough. I mean, I worked for a few months and then I earned enough to get like 6K USD. And then I think meme season started and yeah, I guess I started trading with like burger size, really, really small, like $5, $10 trades, and then I guess it just started to snowball from there. But yeah,
That's crazy. So you started just with super, super small size, like so many of the people that are in our Discord today. And you've been really able to run it up, man, like from such a small size. That's really impressive. Was there a particular trade or a particular moment when you kind of realized that you needed to like really start taking trading seriously?
I think the first trade where it started to feel like, oh, I can actually make money is I don't know if you guys were there for like early or mid 2023. It was the injective season. You know, if you guys know that part, it was when INJ say all started to blow up. I bought the first meme coin on injective. I bought it was called Ninja. I put in $100, which was at the time like a bigger proportion of my trenching portfolio. So I put in $100, and then within a day it was like 3,000, and I was like, wow. And then ever since then, I started off with multi-chain plays. I feel like how when everyone's on Sol, I started to bridge to say or I think even random blockchains, even Tron and stuff. So I would front run people, but that's how I ran up my port at the start. I think so. It's like once you make money, it gets addicting, I guess.
Totally, man. Totally. How long did it take for you to like so that first trade you said 100 into 3 grand. Was it kind of just uphill from there or was it kind of up and to the right from there or did it take you a little while to become consistently profitable? Um, Tell us about kind of the journey from that trade on.
Yeah. I think most of early 2023 to like maybe mid 2024, I was sort of a not really a brokey, but like I would trade with really smaller size. And every time I would make a big win, it was more about like changing my IRL rather than stacking up the wins. So like every win I would cash out, or like put it in spot, because I always didn't like the feeling of losing with size. So I think that helped a lot, to be profitable, to just the hunger to like um to cash it out. I was really excited to cash things out. But the on the other side was, I mean, on the bad side, um a lot of people have been, making more money this cycle because they've been sizing in, or they've been trenching since 2023, so they caught a lot of plays. But not for me. I mean, I caught a lot of small plays, but I had small size too. So I would win a little, I would lose a little, and my port would just stop. But I think there was no like light bulb moment where like, ooh, I became really profitable with it. I think it was more of just showing up every day. Um, so one day you just win more, and you win more consistently, and um, you look back, oh, I've shown up for the last 6 months every day, haven't missed a day, tweeted every day, traded every day, etc. And you just look back, and the experiences stack up. And I think just showing up every day just really gives you an edge. Because someone can come in and do all the right things, but experience will trump that every time. So I think that was my edge for a while too.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's amazing. The story of kind of making your IRL situation better. You know, they say if you make life-changing money, you should change your life. And I know that I'm guilty of at times having made life-changing money and not changing my life because of greed or because of whatever. And I think that a lot of people share that same story. A lot of people who've had, some big wins in the space, they make the mistake of not making it real, not realizing the money, and not changing their life, man. So good on you, and that's like such a high degree of wisdom to have at such a young age, um, to already be there, making it real for yourself. Um, tell us about tell us about some of those big trades, man. Tell me about your biggest and best trade. Tell us about your worst trade.
Yeah. So I think one of the earliest times I became profitable, or like when I actually stacked up the size, was the early TikTok meta of last year. So I think this was like October of last year. Um, so before that, there was a lot of good trades, a lot of good opportunities, but like I missed Bohm, I missed, Whiff, even if I was already trenching at that time. But I also didn't have any size, so if I was gonna make it, it had to be from a small trade but big win. Um, so I think TikTok Meta came, and Chill Guy came out, and went to like from 50 to like 300 M. Um, and I don't know. I think I was lucky because I put in one sol in all of the different TikTok memes. So there was Bruz, there was Huz, um, there was the I understand it now. Um, there was Sunny, the robot. So I would put in I would there was this um there's this time, or like time period, where like it would be viral on TikTok, but for like 2 3 weeks no one would talk about it on Twitter. So like you had 2 3 weeks to just buy. Bundles weren't a thing yet, so like I would just, whenever I would see a meme on my FYP, um I'd put in one sol, and I'd search for it on Pump Fun, and then put in one sol, and then like just front run within like a week or something, I just wake up and then I'm up like 100 sol. So that was a bigger, that was one of the few first wins that I had. So it, getting in 5 to 15K and then you just get out at around 2M. So I think that was my first big win. Um, and then I think AI season game. Um, One of my problems at the start was um, I wouldn't size in if it's beyond 5M. So during the early stages of trenching, I was just really a trencher. I would just ride the 100K to 2M move or something, but I wouldn't really size in beyond 5M. And like I said, every time I make 100 sol, I would put it in the spot. So that was my method for a while until AI season came. I had a few friends talk to me about it, and they were like, "You should try size trading, etc." Um, so when AI season came, everything was crazy. Everything was going to 20M, 50M, 100M. So I started to size in with 50 sol, 75 sol, and then just sell that for a 2x, which was really easy at the time. Um, and then that's where I learned how to size. And then thankfully, super thankful that I learned how to size before Trump came. So when Trump came, I was able to get in at, I think, 3.5. And then I added more size at $7. And then my plan was I wanted to sell at Binance listing. And then that brought it to around $40, but I still haven't sold anything. And then I made a plan to sell the first lower high, which came at 65. So I sold like 80% of everything I had at 65. So technically, sort of like a 20x, but sort of with size. After that, I sold everything. After Trump, I sold all of my Sol and all of my Trump. And I think I left the cycle with like 90% out. And yeah, I guess that was my biggest win. That was the craziest day of my life, too.
Wow, dude, amazing. What a story. Can you give us like a P&L on it? You don't have to if you don't want, but I'm really curious.
Uh, I went from 20, I put in 70K. I came out with 7 figs. So,
Dang. Nice work, brother. Nice work. Holy moly. What about the worst trade?
the worst trade, um, I like to lose small, but also like once you start losing, you know how it just snowballs. So when I get tilted, I just trade a lot, which is one of my problems. But um, I think I traded the Kanye coin. I don't know why I did that, but I lost like 40K on it, 50K I think. So I guess that was my biggest loss. But I go on to these sprints also. Like sometimes I'm winning a lot. Sometimes I have sprints where I'm losing a lot. I think I'm in that right now. But you know, when I first downloaded FOMO, also I used it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I just stopped because I was just down so bad on my account. Um, I think this was Creator Capital Markets. I think so. There were everyone was just streaming, and I just failed on all of the plays. I think I went negative 30K when I first downloaded FOMO. So yeah.
That was kind of a tough meta. I was involved in that too. I think that maybe that's around the time when you and I met because I was writing about memes at that particular time. But yeah, that was a really tough meta. The charts were weird. Nothing really took off like you thought it was going to take off. What was the best token during that was like bag work or something.
Yeah, I think bag work, one of probably one of my biggest fumbles also. I think the whole meta, I was tilted the whole meta because I had 1% of bag work at like 200K. And no one was, looking at it. 'Cause that they started in the Dodgers game, and no one was paying attention, so I bought. And then I was like, okay, I'll sell before I sleep. And then I wake up, it's already 10x. Then I wake up the next day, it's 10x again. So, that was like, I think I fumbled like 300, 400K there. So maybe that's my worst play of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brutal. Brutal. There was a period there when things were going crazy. Um, you're a technical trader. You're kind of one of the few technical traders that I see participating in these memes. Everybody posts charts, but nobody's really, or from what I can tell, most traders aren't actually like really paying attention to the charts. A lot of them are just kind of trading on vibes. So I'm kind of curious, like, what role do technicals play in your total process? And at like what market cap do you think technicals actually start becoming important? Are they important for a ticker that's 200K market cap, or is there some sort of like minimum market cap that a coin needs to be in order for technicals to really matter to you?
Mm. Yeah, I am a big TA guy. Just because I like to trade majors also, or like, um, yeah. But I don't really use like the deep shit. How there's so much going on with technical analysis. There's a lot of ways to look at it. There's like Wyckoff and like Elliott waves and like some swing failure patterns or whatever. I just like to use the basic stuff. Not because I didn't study the deeper stuff, mostly because I feel like um I feel like the chart just reflects sentiment and psychology, and when I add lines to it, like a basic floor or a ceiling, it just gives a better map where we are price wise. So like I feel like it's just an extra advantage, and if you're given an extra advantage, why wouldn't you take it, right? Um, but yeah, it's more of a map to guide you in the right direction. But it can only do so much. So I guess I would frame it as like vibes are what tell me to like what I should be buying, what I should be selling, or like whether this coin is worth to get into or not. And then like TA will be the one to tell me like you should buy here and sell here. More of like the levels. Um,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
yeah.
What what technical analysis tools do you use that are just like you got to have them on your chart at all times?
Um, it's more of the levels. I think I use the imbalances a lot, the fair value gaps. It's like a forex thing, or people use it more in stocks or whatever. But it's been working out for me. It just gives a level that could be revisited, and so it's just like whenever it's breaking a high or something, okay, I'll enter on the fair value gap, something like that. Um, Other than that, just also structure. I also trade structure. Like it's it doesn't always get respected, but it's just like okay, the trend flip. It's just I only trade uptrends. I only sell downtrends. So well, that's the goal, but I don't always do it. But yeah, it just tells me where the trend is, and I learned it from you. I also use the AV WAP sometimes, um, on the higher time frames. So buy below, sell high.
Sure. Do you have a particular time frame of chart that you tend to do your technical analysis on?
If it's higher cap, like let's say something above 5 to 20 50 m, um I think I just stay in 1 hour, 4 hour, 12 hour. But if we're like trading lower caps, I go from 5 minute to even the 15-second chart, when I'm trying to get entries.
Got it.
Uh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, 15 second. That'll give you a heart attack really quick. um,
Yeah.
so I've been kind of reading your Telegram, which I think is so cool. You have a personal Telegram that's like your trading journal, and so it's public. Anybody can sign up and read it, and just get your thoughts on things as you have them. And back in August, you said that one of your pain points as a trader was holding trades too long. So I'm curious how that's working out for you now, how how you're feeling about that pain point today here in December, a couple months later. And I'm also curious, like, what process do you use to tell you that, hey, look, it's time to get out of this trade. I know that I have this habit of holding too long. What do you do to combat that kind of instinctual thing that you have?
Uh yeah. So I think you're right, it is one of my pain points, but also it's like um I'm not gonna act like I solved it. It's still one of my problems now. It's still probably my biggest problem. So, um, I'm an honest guy. So I'm just like every one of you. So I won't act like I'm a high and mighty trader. That just like the other people on CT that are just crazy. But I guess now my problem is still I do bury my bags. You can see it in my Avicii trade right now. But the times that I did, execute a trade really well is when I'm always selling. So one of the tips I would give you guys and myself is just always be selling. Um, so I think I have a fear of being sidelined. Um, but I realized being sidelined is always better than losing. So coming from like a serial round tripper, you know, uh, I would much rather be sidelined rather than to take a loss. I think I round tripped a lot. Um, Avicii, I think I caught Annie also, so my PNL could have been much bigger there. But you just live, you learn. I think some of these, especially if it's your biggest pain point, I think it takes time to unlearn. But uh, I guess being aware of your pain points and being aware of your mistakes is one of the biggest problems. I mean, biggest edges you could have, because a lot of people, they just trade on vibes, and they will let themselves get tilted and etc. So yeah, I think that's one of my pain points now, and that's still one of my pain points. But hopefully, I figure it out. I mean, like at least we're aware and we know what to do. Um, I was planning to write about it soon, but I feel like there's just like the greed sneaks up on you. It's just when you're at a high, the greed will just sneak up on you. You just wait for higher, and little do you know, the train to exit is already gone. So, um, yeah, something to figure out for sure.
One thing that I deal with personally is when you, and I've kind of always been told this from other traders in the space, is like when you take a position in something that you have a lot of conviction in, sometimes that conviction is the blinding thing. Maybe it's not the greed or like how much money you stand to make, but it's like this, I believe this token, this story, this meta has real serious legs, and I'm willing to give back everything that I've made on this. I'm willing to be wrong, for the
Yeah,
sake of like sticking with this trade, because so many times you'll get into a trade and you may be up nicely, but it may not be anywhere near your target, or the target that you have in your mind, and you give back the entirety of the move because, as you say, those big green candles have a tendency to get filled before price continues higher. How do
yeah,
you, maybe the question isn't like, what technical process do you use, but like how can you tell when a meta is dying or when a meta has shifted? Do you have some sort of gut feeling, or do you have what do you look for to let you know that that's the case?
Um, well, I think the recent one is what do you call that? The one where the Pokemon card ran. I think it really when the betas start taking the liquidity from the main runner, I think that's when it's like sort of over. Um, Example is the MetaDAO run. So like Avicii ran up, kept running, and then suddenly everyone was shelling Umbra, Meta, Solo, um, and then they started running while Avicii stopped running. So that's how you know like things are about to reverse, and then Avicii went down and then now everyone else is going down. So like that, I feel like that's the lifespan of a meta. You see it also with uh, CCM. Bag work would run and then the liquidity goes to the betas, um, and then the main runner just stalls for a bit and then everything reverses afterwards. So it's sort of like that. There other metas are different, like some are crime based, like the BNB season. It's a little harder to tell because it's not about the main runners or the betas. It's just more about what will CZ and Binance tweet about. So it's different, but the most generic framework I could think of is yeah, just to look at the main runner in relative to the rest of the market. um, yeah.
That's awesome. That's serious alpha, dude. I'm gonna clip that out and we're gonna post that on social media. That's great. I love that. Um, so you once said that sometimes there are really easy, obvious plays in the market where everything just makes sense and is aligned, and our job as traders is to spot them. Can you give me an example, and can you maybe talk me through how you go about just kind of identifying that? What do you look for that suggests that a play is obvious? And maybe the most important part of this question is, are there any plays like that right now?
Yeah. I think sometimes there are PVE runners, and sometimes the PVE runners take time to play out. But yeah, I think you had it with Trump, of course. After was there, Annie. Like when they come out, they're just so easy, so obvious. But of course, you don't really see it at the time. So, your job or our job is really to like figure out what's easy and what's not. So I guess I would use After as an example. Um, when it came out, I think I saw it at point 11. Um, and then I just the only thing I saw was perp decks. And at the time, only hype was existing. So I saw perp decks. I saw this what CZ hasn't even tweeted yet. I saw backed by Binance Labs. And I didn't even think of like CZ backing it or whatever, or CZ posting the chart. I only thought of, okay, it's a perp deck. It's by Binance, and it's cheap. Um, so it starts to get you buy a bit and then see he start tweeting, and then it's at point 3 or point 4, and then he posts the chart, and then I think it revealed that it really is backed by Binance. So just like that, it's already an obvious play. So after that, it's free money. With Annie before Elon, released released the X mascot thing. And then it also just it was also just obvious that he would keep pushing it. And I think at the time it was just like sub 5M, so it's also a layup. Like Elon's gonna tweet about it. It's a mascot. It's an anime girl. I'm surprised it topped out at 50M, I think, but It was also an easy play. But you know, sometimes I also miss the easy plays. I think Uranus was easy also at the time, just because Jupe had the meta. But I think Uranus was hovering at like 8 to 10 M for the longest time, and I didn't buy. I always told myself I would buy, but I didn't. And then you just wake up one day, it's at 80 M. Um, because you know it's a good meme. Uh, I think Troll was easy also. Um, I think when all of the liquidity was with Bonk and there were no runners on pump, but Troll showed a bit of strength, and everything else on pump was going down except Troll. I think that was also a sign to buy. I think it was easy also, but I also missed it. I think you missed it too, Jason. I think I read something like an article of yours. Um,
Oh
but
man,
yeah, some
that was
trades are just layups.
yeah. I agree. Uranus was easy. Uranus was obvious. It was obvious from day one. Like it was the best meme for Jupiter, right? Jupiter and Uranus are next to one another. It's just funny. It was perfect. But it took the team about a month. It took like the Jupe team, Meow and them, to actually start um, talking about it. And I think that's kind of what made a lot of traders sidelined, I think, because everybody was waiting. They just thought that because of Pump's history, they thought that Jupiter was going to do the same thing, essentially just like slam money into the first eco token that came along. And they didn't do that. They waited a month to see what the community would really rally behind. And after a month, it was pretty obvious that Uranus was a winner by a far stretch, like by 10x market cap to the next highest market cap token. So then they started
Yeah.
talking about it and then it ripped. And like you said, at the time, Pump was getting shit on, right? Nobody really cared about Pump, and Pump wanted attention, and so they just took. I mean, I don't know if this is why, but the chart was very similar. The troll chart was very similar to the Uranus chart, and this is what you're talking about. Like I had a really good trade on Uranus, and then I slammed all of the money that I made on Uranus into troll at like I don't know 18 million or 21 million before it broke out because I saw like this is obvious. And then I was on a short vacation and I was talking to a friend of mine on Twitter about troll, and he kind of tried to talk me out of the trade, and I ended up selling. I ended up cutting the trade like at break even, essentially like the day before it took off. And yeah, I would have. I mean, I had totally the vision for it. I thought that they were going to do to Troll what they did just done to Uranus. So I kind of was thinking like 150 to 200 million for Troll, and that's ultimately what they did. But I totally missed it, and I just couldn't. Once I missed it, I couldn't get back on. I couldn't get back in the trade. Like I just sat there sidelined watching the chart for 3 weeks, just agonizing over the fact that because I had a big chunk of money in it, and I just cut it. And I cut it before anything happened. What's your process? Have you ever had that happen to you where you have a thesis, you're right, but you cut before the thesis plays out and you end up not ever getting back in because in your mind you missed it?
Yeah, that was definitely bad work for me.
Ah,
Getting in at 200K. And then, I had no reason to sell, honestly. I just sold because I didn't want to hold it while I was asleep. I think it was here on FOMO. Um, I just didn't want to hold it while I was asleep, because it's a low cap. Then I woke up, it was at 2M. And then obviously everyone was like, damn, this is the next PVE runner, etc. But I didn't want to get back in, is my pride got to me, and like, um yeah. So I watched it go from 2 4, then teleport to 10, then go to like 18M, and then it even went to like 40M and all that. But I just had to watch it from the side. I mean, like knowing that I held 1% of it is just it was it carried over to my other trades for sure. You start to risk more to make it back or something. But yeah, that was tough.
Totally. It's hard to once that happens to you, it's really hard not to revenge trade your way to try and get something back or and that always ends up failing. Do you have a process for like when you're feeling that sort of yeah, like just FOMO, like you missed out. Do you have a process for kind of turning off your charts, turning off your apps and just like stepping away until you feel calm?
Yeah, so I sit on a bunch of stables. So every time I take a big loss or I'm on a losing streak, I always cash out some stables and like, okay, I'm gone for like 2 3 days, and just enjoying my stables also. Like, I don't know, it makes me feel better to cash out to my bank account, and uh, it 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 makes me want to risk less. It makes me want to risk less knowing that the money is real. You get desensitized to it. But other than that, I take a 3 day break and I journal. I journal a lot when I'm tilted. I journal a lot more also. Uh, but I think just writing about it, and just being aware of your emotions at a particular point in time, it just changes a lot, um, compared to the guy that is tilted and is still trading even when he's tilted and doesn't know he's tilted. So and then he ends up blaming the market when it's his fault. So I guess writing for sure.
Yeah, so that was kind of the next thing I wanted to touch on. You journal a lot, and we just recently added a journal, like a trade journal channel, to give traders the opportunity to do exactly that, right? To talk through their process, put it down on paper, get the emotional component written so that you can read it back to yourself and like understand what you were thinking, why you were thinking it, what your plan was, or if you didn't have a plan at all. I'm curious, like, can you talk us through your journaling process? What do you think is important to write about? How has the process strengthened your trading? And maybe what's the best insight that you've gathered from journaling in general?
Yeah. I think I use my Telegram as, I try to imagine that nobody's there. It's just like a public trading journal. Like I treat it as if I'm really talking to myself. And even on Twitter, I mean, I think a lot of people on CT have been focused on LARPing, or like just more focused on the wins and promoting stuff. And I felt like growing Halibut as an account also, like I felt like the best thing I could do is just be honest. Um, so I do that with my trading journal. I try to be as honest as I can. Um, Honest with my emotions, honest with my losses, honest with how I feel during the losses. Because I feel like, everyone just as high and mighty in the space. That, that when things go wrong and things go right, it's all about being aura and nonchalant or something. But I treat this as a job. So I think being aware of your emotions, mistakes, and trying to correct it is everything. Um, and the more I journal, the less the trade becomes about the money, and it becomes more about being right and analyzing things correctly. I always thought that like one of the light bulb moments for trading was once you can separate the money aspect from the actual trade, um, you get to perform a lot better. So I think I always thought trading psychology is, splitting those two. And I think journaling is probably one of my biggest edges, other than the experience and having size now. But it really is one of my biggest edges, and I do suggest everyone should do it. Um, but yeah.
Have you, are there any like standout insights that you've gotten from journaling that you didn't like anticipate that you were going to get from journaling?
Um, Insights that I got from journaling. Um, well, I think I realized how much I make a plan, but also how much I don't follow it. So an example here would be like Avicii. Uh, I traded the uptrend. I did it pretty well. Until what?
We lost you a little bit there.
Wait. Okay, there. Sorry. Um, I think there was a in Avicii. I made a plan. I posted it on my Telegram that if we lose the 6.4 level, things could get ugly. And then we go to the 6.4 level, and then we trade there a bit, and then we lose it, and then I didn't do anything about it. So I guess it revealed also like how much I make plans, and these plans could be right, but if I don't execute on them, they're useless. So I think that's one of the things I learned lately in my journal. I wrote about it also, just like how much I can be correct, but the execution could be wrong, and it becomes useless. Um, and yeah, I guess it just revealed to me how greedy I actually am, even if I don't think so. So I guess that's my biggest insight from journaling lately.
Interesting. That's fascinating. I hope that, yeah, I hope that that helps you in the future and to, I don't know, to be more mindful.
Yes,
Uh,
I think it will. Um, I wrote last night the quote, the "we are too quick to increase our capital and too slow to protect it." Um, I thought it was the greatest quote for trading, or like just for me. Um, but I think since we're in horrible market conditions, it's it's like it's been the exact formula for me. Like I oversize when there's a lot of green candles, or I top blast. But when it's time to sell, when you see that lower high, when you see that rejection, um, you're just too slow to sell, and then you wait for lower or something. But I think it sums up the balance between greed and taking action, um, a lot. So I think that's something I want to focus on also.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Good on you. Um, how do you utilize FOMO in your trading? Do you have specific traders on the app that you're paying attention to, or in that you have alerts on for that you think are just awesome traders? And maybe inversely, do you have any traders that you avoid?
Um, I like FOMO a lot. I Most of my trenching portfolio is on it. Like I don't use the other terminals anymore, but I mostly use it for the social aspect, which is sort of random. I mean, like listening to other people, don't really use it for the social aspect, but I like it. Um, I follow a few traders, and it's just nice to, like, when I'm walking in the mall, I see someone slammed 5K of this, and it's easy to know which coins to look at, or like when there's a big runner, you'll see like 60 traders bought this with this. So I feel like those notifications are like crucial. So there's that. The leaderboard, uh, it's you get to see which traders are up today, and which coins made them up. So I use that part a lot also, and honestly, the leaderboard is getting to my head. Um, I find myself like when I see a new coin, like I want to be the top holder on it or the second top holder or something. So like it also gets me to oversize, which it adds a little nice little obstacle to my trading, but it's a feature, not a bug. Um, the other traders that I do watch there is I I like a lot, Uber Mendes. And then Frank, of course. Uh, though he's like in and out a lot, but like he picks really good coins too. I just follow also Favel, and DEGN. But there are a lot of good traders. But they're the ones that I have noticed on for.
Can I ask you the story about why you want to be top holder on a token?
Yeah. So growing Halibut as an account, I think it's also a way to get discovered. Also, I mean, like when you're on that leaderboard, or like you want when you're the top holder of a coin, if it really grows, you get on that leaderboard, or like a lot of people see your account when they open the coin, and I don't know, it just feels good also to be like that, to know that you're like one of the top performers for the week, for the month, for the day, and you chose the coin of the day or something like that. So it just feels good, but it's also like, it's also greedy, like other people have better entries, etc. That's why they have more tokens, but you want to oversize just to get on that leaderboard. But it's a it's it's a fun gamey aspect, um, but nothing bad.
Right on. Just curious. Um, we are coming up on maybe like one of the last one or two questions here. So I want to give the audience time to throw some questions in chat if anybody has any for Hallie. While we wait on that, I'm curious, what advice do you have for traders that are kind of just starting out now, small ports, maybe $1,000 or maybe $500, or, just like small size, just kind of starting to learn how to trade. Maybe they have only just found trading because of FOMO. So their first experience with trading is this social, following other traders, that sort of thing. What if you had to narrow it down to like a couple of key pieces of advice for new traders, what would you tell somebody who's kind of just starting out today about trading?
Yeah. I think one is to put skin in the game. So, like you don't have to put in your entire life savings, etc., but put skin in the game, like enough to commit to this industry, um, and learn when to take a break. So like you will get tilted a lot of times, but you have to learn when to take a break. And after you do take a break, you have to always come back and show up every day. Always show up. I think we underrate how much experience and consistency can play a part in trading. Um, so like just because just the act of showing up just makes you a better trader than the people that don't. Um, it pays really well to be tapped into this industry. And a lot of this, like, you could show up every day and not hit a good trade for, week, months, and then the PVE runner comes and then you get in. It all becomes worth it. So I guess really just show up and stay tapped in. I think I think that's the biggest the easiest advice I could give. And journal, of course.
Okay, cool. Right on. What's your current read on the market right now, and where do you think we are in the cycle?
Um, yeah, I think we're gonna have a year-end rally, hopefully, but I'm not a believer that in the 4-year cycle, honestly. Um, I think after I think BTC is just in a retrace, honestly. Though it's sharper than we'd like, I think if these levels hold, it just looks like a regular retrace. But other than that, you have to know when to be risk on and risk off, and so sort of now is not really the risk on period. Maybe if we print a higher high, it becomes risk on, but that's sort of where I'm at. But for on chain, I think things are really just low, and I realized even just the network or the launchpad you're trading plays a factor. Like bonk coins move a lot faster than pump coins. Binance, BNB coins, they hold their levels a little higher, but they go to zero faster. So I think being aware of the environment also is important. But I think on chain will pick up. I think it's not as fast as before. I mean, like you know, as uh, as hot as before. But there are definitely still opportunities. That's going back to my previous point. I think stay tapped in. Just stay tapped in and show up. Uh, you don't lose. I mean, just show up, and it usually pays off. So I guess that's it.
Okay. Trail Mix is asking what your favorite trade right now is, and what do you think the next big meta? Is there a meta that's kind of forming right now that you're seeing, or are you kind of looking for the next one?
I think I'm looking at the USD1 coins just with like SPSC. I'm looking into that. I'm mad I missed it. Um Avicii. Uh to be honest, I feel like the easy part of the trade is done. So I don't know. Uh I still like it, but I think the easy part is done. And uh I like hype, honestly. I like hype here. Um, what else? I'm in BB, which is like the Binance Alpha mascot or something. Uh, but other than that, there's not much to look at. I mean, Franklin could really do some numbers. I think it's on a good dip also, and it might be worth getting into. But other than that, I mean, like usually when there's nothing to buy, then don't buy anything. Um, because usually, the PVE runner or like something really good comes out when there's nothing to buy. So don't like FOMO into buying anything even when there's no trade. Uh, but yeah.
Okay, right on. Well, please let us know in the chat if you see something developing. We're constantly hunting for the next meta out there, and would love your input if you see anything. That's all the questions from the audience. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here, Hallie, if that's all right with you, man. I just really appreciate your time tonight. This has been such a cool chat. We've been chatting, on Twitter for a handful of months now. But it's really great to hear your voice and get to talk to you, kind of in person. So thank you so much for joining us and being willing to do this. And I know I speak for the audience here when just saying thank you. Appreciate it. Do you have any last words for folks?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for listening. I mean, I'm just a regular trader like all of you, so I'm happy to, just be honest. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just stay tapped in, guys. I think we're getting something good soon. And also thank you to FOMO. I mean, like just a just a great platform and just doing great things for the space. So thank you also for having me.
Cheers, man. It's our pleasure, and would love to do it again here, maybe in a couple of months. Check back in, see how you're doing.
Alright. Okay, thanks guys. Cheers.
All right, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you again, Hallie. We would really appreciate it, man. We'll talk to y'all all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.